And we have Benson Scotch, a lawyer from Vermont, general counsel to Bring the Guard Home, former writer for the U.S. Army Recruiting Services.
Oh my God!
Confession is golden.
And also we have here, we'd like to welcome David Swanson to our panel. David, you all know David, he's runs AfterDowningStreet.org and many other things. He's part of Democrats.com, an avid activist, and Cindy refers to him as the glue that holds the anti-war movement together. You're not doing a really good job, David. Oh, sorry. And he has a book outside that he wanted me to tell you. Please buy a copy and he'll autograph it for you. Daybreak. What is it? What's the?
Undoing the Imperial Presidency and Forming a More Perfect Union.
Got it. Undoing the Imperial Presidency and Forming a More Perfect Union. So I actually bought one and I'm going to have him autograph it for me. So we'll start our panel and we're going to have each person has approximately 10 minutes to cover their subtopic for this particular panel discussion. And I'm going to be moderating. So first we'll have Leah Bolger come up. Thank you.
Hello. I appreciate being here. This is it's very humbling to be amongst such smart and not just smart but educated and well-informed people. I'm very humbled to be here. For the past year, I've been working as a member of the National Steering Committee for the Bring the Guard Home campaign. And I've also been the co-coordinator for my state campaign, which is called Keep Oregon's Guard in Oregon. So my part of the panel today is to talk about the role that the voice of the people plays in making decisions about war based on my experience through the National Bring the Guard Home campaign and my state campaign. So we've talked last night and today too, we've touched on several topics that are inherent problems in getting the people's voice heard on any issue. And basically that's money. We don't have the money. And that manifests itself in lobbying, the recognition of money as speech by the Supreme Court, the corporate personhood, we don't have the money to control the media, and the media sets its own agenda and reports on some things and pushes an agenda and then doesn't report on some things and thereby promotes their own agenda by not reporting on things. I mean, we had millions of people in the streets before we invaded Iraq, all over the world, and it didn't matter. There were tens of thousands of people marching in Iraq saying, get out of our country. Does anybody see that in our country? No. So, and that's all tied back into money. The corporate media, and then party loyalty, which also ties into the money thing, that the two-party system, the members of which feel obligated to do the bidding of their party so that they get reelected. And we saw that happen in January or June with the strong-arm tactics of the Obama administration to get the House to vote for the $108 billion war supplemental. So we see this in that area. So there's money. We also, ironically, one of the problems of that the American public has getting their voice heard is the American public itself. We are our own worst enemy. We are ill-informed. We are, most people, from my experience, they don't know who their congressperson is. And when we're talking about the Guard Home campaign, this is state legislation we're talking about. And people do not even know who they might know who their congressman is, but they don't know the difference between a state legislature and Congress. They do not know who their state representative and state senator is. So there's that. People are not well informed. People are apathetic. A lot of people don't vote. And they don't seem to care about issues unless they affect them personally. So you see that unless it's affecting me and my pocketbook and my family, I don't care about it. People are cynical. They feel like it doesn't matter what they do, it's not going to make any difference. So that leads to the apathy and sort of kind of a daisy chain. And then a lot of the American public is gullible and they buy into the things they see on television, and they have this sense of, I call it a false patriotism or jingoism that's America, our country, cannot do anything wrong because we're the best, and so they cannot critically look at any of our policies. They can't be negative or critical about it. Why would we even question what our government's doing? So, with all those inherent problems that we have in mind, we still try. We still keep trying. And the Bring the Guard Home campaign, as Mike Fisher talked about, started in January of 2008 in Vermont, and it spread via Ben Manski and the Liberty Tree. In Oregon, the campaign I'm most familiar with, we got on board in May of 2008, and there was a group, actually it was almost like a one-man group. It was really, really grassroots effort. One person, an organization called Peace and Justice Works in Portland, started organizing Oregon, and he sent out feelers to peace and justice groups, Veterans for Peace being one of those, and that's how I got involved with the campaign. That's the group I did the most work with. So Peace and Justice Works built this campaign throughout Oregon. We ended up getting over 60 peace and justice groups throughout the state. We built a petition campaign. We gathered over 7,000 signatures from every county in our state. We built a database with those signatures and were able to sort them by representative and by senator. We did everything you can think of on a grassroots level. We did letter writing campaigns. We did postcards. We did lobbying. We did rallies. We did the petitions. We did letters to the editor, everything. And we really had a good structure. Now, we started with one House representative named Chip Shields, who was the first sponsor of the legislation, and he helped us write the bill that we worked on. But other than putting his name on it, I have to say, I mean, he was a great ally, but he was so busy with the legislation, budget basically, but budget overran everything and kind of overwhelmed and subsumed everything in our legislative process this session. And I have to say, Oregon is, I don't know how unusual it is, but our state legislature meets every other year. And it starts in January and they try to be done by June. So when you have big budget problems like we did this year, it's very hard to get that done, and it has to be done, of course. So everything else is second place. So, but the grassroots, the people, the 60 organizations, we went from office to office and we got co-sponsors. We gathered the names. We got the support. We got bill numbers. We got a committee assignment that we wanted. We got a hearing, and at the hearing, we had a hearing. We had testimony from both Republicans and Democrats that were sponsors on the bill. The testimony, our committee hearing, was very well received. We were told by the committee chair that he would push it out of committee to a floor vote if we could show him 30 votes in the House. So we went to work. We did more lobbying and we found the votes. We were. This is the part that it just really was very frustrating to me, because we found these votes, yet in the end we didn't get our floor votes, and you know what? So why is that? What happened? What went wrong? Because seemingly everything, all the stars were aligned. We had a Democratic governor who was term limited, couldn't run again. We had control of and there was a Democratic control of the House and the Senate. We had 3,000 guard troops that were pending deployment in May of 2009. So there was a lot of local interest in the Guard and what was happening. So why couldn't we get this simple kind of no-brainer legislation passed? Well, the first problem was that the governor, who is a lawyer, was opposed to it. And he influenced the legislature. He called it unconstitutional. He said it was Congress's decision, not a state-level decision. And my feeling is it was much easier for him to say, "Hey, my hands are tied," than to take a stand. And just like somebody earlier was talking about, Congress really doesn't want to vote on this because then you have to hold them account. So the governor, in my opinion, didn't want to have to make this stand. It's so much easier just to say, "Hey, Congress, they made the decision and my hands are tied." So the governor was one of the obstacles we had. The other, this was the most infuriating thing. We're not professional lobbyists. We were going office to office saying, "Let me tell you about the Guard Home campaign, and we'd love to get your support." And we talked to these representatives, and they'd say, "Well, I really don't want to put my name on this unless I'm sure that it's going to pass."